Okay, here on the 9th of May, the French have gotten themselves in a little bit of trouble. I'm not going to move this quite yet. Very shortly I will have to, but not quite this turn. I need it to support movements over here, and I kind of want to clear this area, but here's what happened. Davout moved up here to take on this Cav General. We'll see if he can get away. He was supposed to be supported by Napoleon, a lot of strength here, try to wipe that out, and, just push the few strength points out of the way, get some extra kill points, whatever. It's not worth anything, but it's good to wipe out enemy troops. Over here, Lefebvre, I paid to move him here, but I didn't pay to move Vendôme. That star is so deceptive. I think he's going to be a good leader. He's not. He's kind of slow, and, his slowness came into effect there. So he didn't come in to help against Belgrade, and there's a good chance that the Austrians will win that fight against Lefebvre there. French turn did not go well at all. First of all, that Cav withdrew. So Davout's standing there saying, huh? Secondly, I forgot to mention this, or actually take care of it beforehand, but Bessier decided to fix that bridge. He succeeded. He attacked. He was outnumbered. Liechtenstein chased him back, and also Bellegarde was able to chase Lefebvre back, which is all a pile of ugliness for the French. I think we're at the end of the turn here. Bellegarde stuck around, took some casualties for doing so, but went and captured Regensburg. These guys were not able to interfere. That causes problems. First of all, the Passau connection can't be made there. It also generated a victory point, so the Austrians are back and, hey, we're winning, These new forces did not manage to come in, not in command range. There was no command range at the time. Liechtenstein did not manage to make his way back. Charles didn't make it back. I didn't even roll for Collerat. I kind of like the position he's in. If Bernadotte comes down, because I can look up and see how much Bernadotte had, he's not going to be that potent, so I can perhaps hold him off. It's one of the problems, many problems, with the hidden movement type games, or the hidden strength games, because the strength is hidden with or without the optional. The optional role is where the leaders are hidden. Which seems easier to hide than the actual strength of the forces. Like, some approximate of the strength should just be known. But because of and it's the problem I have with block games too, but because of the hidden strengths and the fact of the way I play it, but this is a big long game. This is not something, that you knock off in 4 hours or whatever. It's very, very easy to have no idea what you're facing. But in this case, I can look it up. But in other cases, you have no knowledge at all. And that's one of the things some of the optional rules, not in this game, I think, but in some of the others, have with the vedettes and being able to scout things out with Cav and get away and stuff like that, which all makes sense. You really do want that capability. Problem is, it adds a layer of complexity to the design when it would just be easier to say, well, about how big is that force? I probably should peek at force sizes. For example, Bessier was shocked with how much he faced here. Sometimes you do stumble, sometimes in battles, people do stumble into forces, and actually in this campaign, that are much, much larger or smaller than were expected, though. So it's not entirely unreasonable. I think the vedettes are probably a good rule, but I let my mistakes kind of cause my fog of war usually, and then just live with them for the most part. And anything else exciting? Not really. The French didn't get a lot of movement here. In taking this, the Major General's still there, because I didn't want to pursue more than one hex. You don't have to pursue the entire length, and Regensburg is good enough. I could have moved one more hex and destroyed it, but I feel like this is the place I want to be. If I'm going to starve somewhere, it might as well be somewhere worth a victory point. All right, so that gets us to another turn where there are a bunch of troops coming. A lot of French infantry available. At some point or another, I gotta think about rebuilding units. I sometimes beef up my units with the excess strength points. Not all that much though. Let's see. Yeah, all I got is 1 cav left on the French. The Austrians have 6 infantry left though. But the thing is, you make your forces bigger, they take attrition faster, so it's not absolutely clear that you want to dispatch your troops to the front. Extra troops don't necessarily give you that big a, you know, it might be an odds shift, it might not. That's, you certainly don't want to lose them for, yeah, maybe it'll count for something, right? With Mouton coming up close, Liechtenstein might be in some danger here. I could actually make a coordinated force and move it together, but then I pay the same as if I'm activating each one on its own. So it's hard to coordinate your forces, and that's a beautiful thing in the game. I love so many aspects of this. Are, you know, if I could design a game, I would want it to be like this, but then why do I not enjoy this? Maybe the rules would be clearer, but not if I wrote them. You'd hear how I speak. People would misunderstand me left and right. All right, I think that's it for tonight. So we got rainy weather now. I don't know what day it is. The 11th. Rainy weather. Bellegarde entrenched here is really a serious problem. I don't have enough forces back here to cope with him. He's got like a strength of 35 while he's sitting in there, basically. Lon probably has enough troops if I send him and all of his command back. The question is, how much do I really need? Because I can throw reinforcements in if need be as I get closer to the task. But one of the problems with that is Lon's not very good at commanding a lot of troops. He can only command 6 points worth of stuff. Vendôme and Lefebvre add up together to 6, which means, you know, I'm going to have to reorganize in some way. Let's see what we've got here. Vendôme doesn't have much under him, so I could get rid of him. And Lefebvre doesn't have a whole hell of a lot either. So I can reduce that to just 1 leader. I don't think I actually see anywhere that I need to spend commands. But I fear that that is going to divert too many French troops, and I'm going to end up kind of falling behind even further. Lefebvre has Saxons, that's good. Unfortunately, my Bavarians, where are they? Are they all under Napoleon now? Just 2 strength points of Bavarians? Awesome. I think I've killed off most of my, if not all of my Bavarians. Which is cool because they start having trouble going beyond here. There doesn't seem to be any restriction which leader you take the losses from if they're on a commander's track, like which unit you take them from. Which I think some of the games may have, but I'm not sure, because I remember doing that in Napoleon at Bay, but I think I was doing it unnecessarily. All right, perhaps the most important thing, Lon failed to fix the bridge. Otherwise, a little bit of movement here. Mouton took command. General Mouton took command of Marshal Bessier, just because the way the numbers work. Bessier is willing to follow Mouton, not the other way around with the troops that we had, to attack Liechtenstein. It was like a 2-to-1 attack in affecting terrain, but Mouton took a pitched battle. He lost the first round of it 3-to-1. The second round, though, He ended up doing, I don't remember. I think 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 5 hits, which is not quite enough for this to end up being a critical battle. But, you know, did a lot of damage. I don't know if I'm in range of supplies anymore. That could be a problem. I think I may have outrun my supply. I can move here half. This way didn't work. Half, 2.5, 4.5, 6.5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Nah, just missing buff cases. Might not have wanted to run so far, but honestly, there are reasons that, you know, the extra couple losses I may end up taking, but as well, but there are reasons to be pursuing this far, I think. I don't know. What if I do 2 less losses and end up here? That's kind of cool. And that keeps me in my supply. Let me give Liechtenstein 2 more strength points back. His command. And I think that's the French side. Now we're back on the Austrian side. Okay, the turns don't take that long, but there's a lot of mental activity in them, and trying to squeeze one in before work. Yeah, and weird day anyway, because I got up super early, but even so, trying to squeeze one in before work has been kind of tough. I'm a little worried I might have missed something, but anyway, the Austrians blew all the bridges and are positioning themselves behind the inn. Charles is sitting on the key point, which is Passau, which is accessible from 1 hex, which means only 48 strength points can hit him, unless a bridge is built somewhere else. Mouton is still going to hold out down here near Braunau, because it's just too dangerous to let the Austrians, say, give up part of their frontage there, I guess. And not a lot else. Vendôme, Lefebvre consolidated with Vendôme. That's about it. This is going to go well, but as I look at this, it's very hard to get strength in at Passau. Notably, I can't attack across the river where there's no bridge, which means pretty much I can attack from here or on these roads. There are no bridging anywhere here. I guess I could build one here. Not sure. Yeah, that's across the river as well. I'm not sure if that counts as Danube or not. This is a pretty damn hard thing to take out. I'm going to make one schwack at it. If that kind of doesn't work, I don't know what I'm going to do. I guess blockade it and try to push forward, but wow. I mean, I'll have to force the river somewhere else. And let's see, Lon still not moving. You know, he would have been so much better just walking in terms of getting to deal with Regensburg on its own, but he needs to get that bridge cleaned up too. That's at least as important as the Regensburg issue. And Bernadotte's going to launch, well, he's trying to launch an attack on Collerat. I don't know if Collerat's going to hold. Collerat was of the opinion of, yeah, I'll just stand here and, you know, make a brave front, but yeah, he could kind of does, ooh, can I don't know what I'm facing. Maybe it's more than I think. Again, I'm overstacked here, but the 25 points I'm allowing, if you can get your whole 25 in, that's all you get for the fight. The rest is, you know, somewhere in the back, not really able to defend. But it does mean that you can keep cycling more forces up. You can keep your strength. Anyway, Napoleon tried one crack at this, taking pursuit. Charles pitched. And we didn't come out well. It came out, it could have come out okay, but it was 1-2 attack. It came out into 5-1. Charles decides not to try to pursue. He could do casualties. The problem is, you do that, you got a chance that you're not gonna make it back, right? But what about a command point for that? You know? Yeah, let's see what I get as a pursuit, because doing casualties is kind of nice. So 4 to 5, I'd be at +2. No, we were looking at a 5 hit. +2 on the die roll is not good. Okay, that's going to give me a 7. I'm only going to do an extra hit if I pursue 2 spaces out. That doesn't seem worth the command point, so I'm going to stay where I am and not chase. And I probably would just have chased with a small force, Charles's force or whatever, because it would be enough to do that. On the other hand, Colorat ended up picking pursuit battle. This was a close fight. It was a 1-to-1 in affecting terrain. Could have gone either way, but Bernadotte won it. Colorat fell back. Bernadotte did pursue. And what's that putting him in? Not really a useful position. Being across here isn't all that helpful. The extra strength points that I could get here, not all that helpful. Except for the question of whether or not this counts as Danube, and I think it doesn't. I could build a bridge here and then launch an attack from 3 hexes, but that takes a lot of work. It might be easier to smash my way through, or to cut that off and starve it. Neither of those are great solutions. None of them are good solutions. They're all going to take a lot of time. You notice Napoleon ended up down here. That's because retreating through here was more legal than retreating through there. At least as far as I can understand the priority of retreats. So that's going to put us over on the Austrian side, and they're doing a pretty good job right now of delaying things for the French. As long as we don't lose anything, including Regensburg, we've got to win right now. But you know, this Napoleon's army is just better, and mainly the commanders are just better. So if I don't pick on Charles, you know, it's kind of like not picking on Napoleon in the big strategic games. Well, there's only one commander of any value on the Austrian side. Everyone else is pretty damn crappy. So I can get kills against the others and, you know, force my way across and see what happens. But it is going to take a fair amount of troops to pin Charles down there, and maybe so many that I can't really go forward. On the other hand, maybe Charles abandons it. I'm not sure which is more sensible. 15th of May, the weather's getting better. I think Napoleon's plan is to try to batter his way through here. He's bringing Bessier up with the guards. That means the guards' artillery. That's a nice touch, because the guards' artillery is going to allow him to outgun Charles. And as long as Charles can only get 45 strength points total, and Napoleon can get 48, we'll be on the 1-to-1 table. I don't think this was affecting him. Unfortunately, there's no easy... Yeah, fortified town is affecting. Okay, it is there. So that reduces things a little bit. We each will have a pip, but the additional artillery fire might be able to get me through a little quicker. That's pretty much my best hope at this point. I think. I don't know. At the very least, I do definitely want those guards up there, even if I try to bust through here, which I could do. And might be a better thing. I had numbers on these guys. Yeah, they can't. They can't build any redoubts. They're not big enough forces. Well, the fact that they're not building redoubts probably means I should try to bust through them and then see if I can blockade. If I can blockade both these roads, say Bessier gets lucky here, and whatever comes through here can get into place there. It kind of doesn't matter which side I attack from, to tell you the truth. Then Charles is out of supply, so just doing the threat of that may force him to abandon Passau. Or not. And I guess that's about it. Okay, so during the French turn, Bessier was able to clear this bridge and launched an attack across it. Unfortunately, Rosenberg ran up there to help defend. Now, I could have called off the attack at that point, but I went ahead with it. It went several rounds. It went 3 rounds. Rosenberg pitched again and again. Now, did I screw up? There should be 2 more on each, but the net effect is there's a 2-point swing on a possible critical battle. So on a 1, the Austrians get a victory point. And they do. This causes problems. There's political rules when the Austrians get to Blaustedt. Trying, to push things forward a little faster. By the way, this number here, Napoleon's trying to build a trestle bridge there. He's never going to get around to it, but I don't want to be in the position. Lannes could have done that and maybe would have continued in time. So I don't want to be in the position. Well, he couldn't do that and try to repair the bridge at the same time, but I think he could create another leader or something. I don't know. 1 force per hex. Except just before movement or whatever. So that brings us to the politics. Strength point marker in the Saxon contingent cannot march any longer. And however they defend. Now, I think if Viennese morale goes back down, the Saxons will be allowed to do something. Are there any Saxons left? Yes, that's Bernadotte, isn't it? Yep. And Bernadotte's kind of important. He just chased Colorad away. So he's not going any further. I'm going to rotate him around just to indicate that problem. I guess the exciting news is that Lannes finally fixed his bridge. So he'll be able to start off, and maybe Bellegarde tries to get out of there. I don't know. Depends on how the news starts to luck there. And moving to the 17th, I notice way back here on the 13th, Vienna was supposed to have fallen by now. Yeah, I'm not good at hurrying. What excitement has happened? Well, Napoleon and Bessier have combined. They're going to try to smash their way through again. Yeah, they're kind of at the strong point right now, but that's really where I want to bust through if I can. And with all the artillery, I should be able to have enough of an advantage that I can cause more problems. Lannes streaking through, Vandamme trying to slip around behind. I guess one of the more interesting things is Rieschen going to make his way down, and Collerat is also trying to build a bridge. I left Davout back to watch and build that bridge. He's not the best person to be doing that. He's too useful. I ought to swap him and Messina, actually. Good. Yeah, why don't I do that? Neither leader's doing anything. Of course, viewership declines as games go on and on. Everybody's seen what they kind of want to see, which is the mechanism in action, which I give away on the first one, right? For the most part. I'm actually pretty impressed with how clear that came out, I think. But in terms of the story, start stepping back more and more. At this point, I'm only doing one video for the day, for the 2-day turn. And at some points, I may actually elude turns like this. Lannes and Vandamme moving up on Bellegarde. Over here, things pretty much the same. Lots and lots of construction work going on. The bridge starting here, this continuing. Rosenberg fortifying bridge here. Sending Hiller up to go join, who is he? I don't know him. Liesheim. Liesheim? Yeah. Maximilian starting towards the front. That's about it. More troops coming in this turn, by the way. The French side of the 19/20th of May turn. Bellegarde pays for standing there. I probably should have made an attempt to get him out before. He can only stand for 2 rounds. Excuse me. And something nasty on my camera. The way that I'm doing fortified towns, Elan can keep attacking even though there's no counterattack. So Bellegarde's refusing to counterattack out of the city. Elan hits, but he has to pick pitched or else he's going to run. And I think this actually represents pretty well. Elan ends up... Wait. Shit. I left the wrong thing. Where's Lefebvre? He was not part of the force. But Elan ends up advancing 5 hexes. So we've got losses of 5, 8, 9 to 5, 6, 7, 8, which is not enough for a critical battle. But there's some danger that Bellegarde could get lost here. Now, he could run away from his troops if need be, so I guess it's not that terrible. Or, I don't know, change this into a normal cav unit instead of an associated one and try to run with the cav. He's also some danger to these guys. But, you know, he's operating only off initiative and has to try to get away. He's in a world of hurt there. Chances are we're going to lose Bellegarde. Regensburg just fell, so that gives the French the point back. That allows the Saxons to move again, if they so desire. They're happy building a bridge, I think. I mean, things are static here. I can't make my way across the river. Although I do have a pontoon bridge. I could deploy that and add an additional place where the Austrians would have to defend, which might be not an unwise idea. As to my incapacity, I spent on both Elan and Van Damme to make sure that I had the forces I needed there, right? I got no problem spending points. I got tons of them. The problem is there's nothing clear that comes of spending points right now. So I've got enough points to make my rush, maybe grab Budweis, knock the Austrians down low, and then, you know, push things as hard as I can towards Vienna, get the 2 points from there if I can, and then, you know, maybe get some victories on the way as well. And I should have left those troops behind. Bellegarde was defeated completely. 7 hex advance by Elan on that. Hey, I forgot to play my reaction moves. I have a couple of die rolls to make with the French. Not much. Just moving some of those guys around, I think. That kills Bellegarde. That is a victory point. And now things look a lot more reasonable for the French. Kills, captures, whatever. We don't have to be that specific. Interesting, and it may just be my incapacity to advance like a Napoleon. You know, the delaying tactics that I've used with the Austrians, not fighting here to begin with, which looks like a mistake in this system. They've managed to prevent, you know, I'm at Aspern-Essling now. I don't know when it is, you know. Are the French ever going to make it to Vienna? If they can't make it there by the end of the game, that's 2 victory points that I'm denying them by not engaging up here, by playing the river lines and trying to slow the French down as much as possible. It doesn't give you the historical campaign, and it might not work. You know, some Napoleons may be able, because the Austrian army doesn't move exactly quickly, you know. But some French players might say, screw it, I'm going to run past you Maybe take some out of supply hits or something with a small force and establish myself somewhere, or the possibility of coming around this way. But that's not very pleasant. As you can see, the road takes me in a stupid place. Colorado was kicking around back here. And then also, if Passau, if the Austrians can get back to Passau, it kind of becomes pointless. Then we got to keep running back, or else try to bridge across here. And whatever happens, you got to clear this road if you're going to use Passau as your supply source. And you need Passau as a supply source. So I feel like you're stuck fighting, in southern Bavaria. Speaking of which, the French still haven't left Bavaria. The Bavarian border is the Inn, and then down here. We haven't made it out yet. Kind of cool. And here in the middle of the 21-22 May turn. Oops, forgot to move on. Somebody who could move. Yeah, let's get him moving. 17. It's good weather again. Go 5. Send it down this one. Okay. Something bad happens. The French deploy the pontoon bridge. The Austrians were unable to react. In the reaction phase, they have to make their decision now. They could drop a small force here. Rosenberg has another leader with him that he could command to go there. Problem is, a force can cross that bridge, and a force could be Napoleon. And if that's done during reaction moves, since I'm adjacent to the bridge, since I'm adjacent to this major general, well, they can't force their way across if I block it. But next turn they can attack, and that spells really bad news for this whole line. Bad enough that I have to give it up? I don't know. If it weren't for Bernadotte sitting there, I'd have a way out. But I don't have an easy way out through the north because of Bernadotte. I mean, I do have a way out. I can retreat, but Bernadotte can seal that off, and then I'm screwed, right? Because he's active now. I could protect it, and then create a force that has to displace, or I don't know. There's a number of options that I have for trying to defend this line, but the other option is to abandon it at this point. I think I want to try to buy another turn or two out of it, but there's always a risk to doing that kind of stuff. I could lose my army there. And during the 23rd of May, the jockeying continues here. So Napoleon and his force move up so that they can attack across the bridge. And that's a problem. Rosenberg doesn't have to hit them this turn, but next turn he's going to be attacked, possibly lose some ground. I think I didn't buy any time because I think I'm going to have to withdraw everything now anyway. Well, I bought a teeny bit of time because by putting any force here, I prevent Napoleon from being able to make that crossing just on the reaction move. But it was just a half turn, and I just cannot hold this. I've got to withdraw these at least as quickly as I withdraw stuff from there. So everything's got to go running. Luckily, I have some points built up, 30 action points. The lack of engagement has allowed me into that position. And really the key to this was, Passau is awesome as a fortress, but getting a bridge across the Inn just puts it in a position where I could leave some force there, and maybe I want to. Take out Riesenheim, he can command 4 units. So I might actually leave a large force of Landwehr there. And the only danger with Landwehr is they could defect. I don't know what the rules on defection are. So now that we're entering Austria, we have to consider it. Okay, it's not there. Damn it. That's where I would have expected to find it. Oh, Viennese militia, that's if I get within like 7 of Vienna or something. I'll probably forget about that. Huh. Alright, I'm going to have to keep looking. As far as I can see, this happens if whichever thing happens in order. But basically, Viennese morale has to be negative, which it's not yet. And 3 cities on one side of the border in Austria have to fall. Now, that's going to happen pretty quickly. There's 2 of them. There's a 3rd. So as soon as the Viennese lose another morale level, whatever force is there is going to deplete. That seems like a good reason to leave the force in Passau, to leave the Landwehr there. Unfortunately, these are all northern Landwehr. Here, I got some southern. It's hard to tell the yellows from the whites. I got a couple of strength points of southern. I need to leave at least 10 strength points for this to make sense, you know? So I may end up leaving some of the northern Landwehr there as well. The same conditions apply over here, but it's harder to find cities in the north. Where are my southern Landwehr? Did I get them all killed? Probably. Okay, that's good. So I may commit my northern Landwehr there. They'll probably hold out for a while. That'll either force the French to batter that down, which is probably what they'll choose, or to kind of surround it and starve it out, which doesn't work so well because the supply line starts getting quite long and these points don't accumulate all that well. I may have waited too long. Here's why. Napoleon gets to attack and advance next turn. How do I get Charles out of the way? You know, especially if the advance runs this way. Napoleon could just park himself here, and that starts causing a world of problems for Charles. Oops. Oh well, you know, I was doing too well with the Austrians anyway, right? Losing Charles there would be awesome. The French, pretty sure there weren't enough troops here that they couldn't just push their way through. Don't do so. They stand and get ready to fight. Now Charles and Rosenberg both enter there. It's going to be a bit of a fight. That gets me out of Passau. However, I left the guy who I keep forgetting, Rieschen, in Passau with a bunch of Landwehr. With the hope that he's going to hold on. I pulled Collerat back. I don't think this, you know, being up here on this line is necessarily wise. It's too easy to get cut by bridges across the Danube of some sort or another. I don't remember if those bridging hexsides can be pontooned. I'm assuming they can. And since I got an initiative, I might as well start him moving. He's really wouldn't be doing much here, although he does prevent the advance on Budweis. But getting him and Hiller together for that might be of some value. I don't know if Linz is a particularly good defense. Kind of depends on where I can get my Austrian defense. If I'm holding it, say, in the hills here, then it might do me some good, because then the Budweis would have to go up here. But otherwise, I may have to give up and not try to defend at Troun and just keep falling back maybe to here. I don't know where my other supply center is. Oh, gotta have another one. Maybe it's not on the map. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's gonna be kind of painful, but it's just a matter of, without Budweis, I don't know how far west we can hold things. On to this massive battle. Yeah, Napoleon's gonna start it. Well, that's a tough situation. Napoleon lost the first round of the battle 5-1, +1 for the artillery. That's asking for a critical battle here. Now, if Charles comes back and attacks, because Napoleon picked a pitched, Charles did not, then he pushes, he could conceivably win a critical battle. But he'd have to get lucky. This was an affecting terrain. Napoleon was attacking on the 1-2, which is not good at all. But Charles would be attacking on the 1-1 in the affecting terrain. Still not good. Oops, that was 8-1. Yeah, Napoleon's definitely not gonna. So 5 was 3 and 2. 8 will be 4 and 4. I gotta take one more. One more off Napoleon and one more off Bessier. I was counting on artillery to kind of make the difference because I had like 7 artillery present. So Napoleon definitely doesn't want to keep the fight going. The question is whether Charles wants to counterattack. And he has the option to, because Napoleon picked a pitched battle. The chance of getting a victory point is very, very appealing. But I have to win the battle, which means I have to chase Napoleon out of there. Odds are not good. I am going to pick pitched to give Napoleon a chance to keep going. Napoleon is going to pick pitched so that he doesn't lose a critical battle here. Remember, he doesn't have to attack across the thing, but Charles can keep hitting him. So we will go a second round. The big deal, Charles gets about as good a result as he can hope for, a 3-3. He's picked pitched. Now Napoleon has the option to counterattack, or if he doesn't do that, the way I'm playing it, Charles gets the option to keep attacking. Napoleon certainly doesn't want to continue this, but he doesn't want to retreat either, so he's going to pass on his option to attack. How about Charles? Charles is not getting the victory that he wanted. He's going to be continually attacking on a kind of lousy table. I don't see how we can get any advantage out of this. I'm going to forego the attack as well. And as this was the French turn, now we go to the Austrians, who don't have to pull away because Charles can just sit here and force another turn's worth of battles. Obviously, Napoleon can either reposition, or he could reinforce and try to blast Charles out of there with more strength points. But we were at about 45. Well, we were at 45 before, so we can't get like a 2-1 attack across that river. On the other hand, Massena's bridge is almost complete. The obvious Passau is not as well defended as it had been. Maybe we want to blow through there. Lots of options for the French coming up. Second battle, I forgot to check, but Mouton cleared this bridge. And Louis wasn't able to get away anyway, so I must have checked already. I must have checked. I don't know. I did all that stuff. Yeah. If I didn't, I didn't. Okay. And with Massena completing the construction of his bridge over here, Charles's position is untenable, so he pulls back. Which means, because otherwise Massena could come around and do a combined, force a combined battle. Because there is a zone here, so I can add to it and all kind of problems. Sure, Charles could attack Massena alone, but Napoleon and Massena together, it's just too much. Now we get to the Austrian side of the turn, where we're going to try to peel out. We got plenty of points, but of course the French are going to come surging across. The question is, what happens with Passau? I would really like to get it. Ooh, I forgot to move Lefebvre. Just scoot him along. I don't remember if they moved 7 or 9. And I definitely forgot to check to see if that bridge is this bridge here. I definitely didn't do it this time. As we hit the 27th of May, Charles has successfully disengaged his army. Lots of action points spent on this. Spent 4 or 5 for the turn, I think. But, you know, sometimes you just absolutely have to spend them. Napoleon's reaction coming across. Passau still being kind of a thorn there, so. And next turn we get some extra strength points. And we start settling on how quickly we can skitter across. Ooh, I gotta be careful. There's a road here I didn't see. Uh-oh. Boy. Yeah, but I decided I had to defend here for various reasons. So I'm going to probably have to commit somebody to this road below that bridge. And then that makes Traun a lot less effective. That is 1 city taken. All right. First use of administrative march. Supposedly you've got to write down the hex number. Now this becomes complicated because if you start marching too fast, you don't get there in time. So like, technically I think what you do is you write a hex number that's further than you want to go or whatever. I just want to go down this road and I don't feel like writing things down. Usually administrative marches are pretty damn clear. I wish I had another counter to place on the board, but I don't really need it. I can remember this. The very big luck for the French when it's not needed. All 3 bridges were cleared this turn. Plus I picked up my pontoon. I've got this bridge to use. For Napoleon managed to bust into Passau, but at pretty heavy cost. It took 11 losses to 5, 6, 7. But it's not a major battle because, or it's not a critical battle. It's a major battle because, you know, I took such great casualties getting in there. I got the objective, won the hex, but not in a good situation. Got some very bad luck on my attacks. One thing I wanted to note, so pursuit losses would be doubled for him, but Napoleon was only able to pursue 1 hex, so I wouldn't necessarily even have to pursue that hex, I guess. Like, here's where I'm actually changing the rules. So if I did pursue, I only caused 2 casualties because I only pursued 1 hex. But if I didn't pursue at all, I'd cause 3 casualties to the loser. I'm unwilling to accept that kind of rationale, but that's the way the rules are actually worded. So, you know, if you're a stickler for rules, you may find some things that kind of choke you a little. Okay, trying to see the date here. I got some potentially good news. May 28th is over, which is that my movers are actually delivering something within the next 5 days. And obviously that's pretty damn important to me to figure out what's going on, etc. All right, so let's look at what is going on in the game, though. Not much. The Austrians pulling back, sending Hiller on admin march. Hey, if the French are going to use it, I might as well use it too, right? The Austrians are back to their bridge blowing ways, even blowing up secondary river bridge, just to mess up the road network a little bit, cost the French a little extra movement, but it's going to cost Rosenberg extra movement too, so I don't know. It's a bridge blown of opportunity, I guess. And it doesn't cost much. The Beltway does a good job there. And the French advancing on, not spending points. See, here's the problem. You know, I get these 3s and 4s. It's not vital that they move. I've got tons of points I could really push forward, but I mean, each of these is really a tiny force, and this guy is heading to Passau. They have to meet together to transfer the bridge, and then that's going to be part of the reinforcements. It does seem worthwhile for me to bring Vendôme's more significant force forward. Beginning to feel like maybe Mouton needs to get a command point spent on him. I've got plenty, and he's being kind of slow. I guess that's about it. Advances are putting a couple of things in fighting place. Colorado over here getting pinned by Davout. Napoleon going down to hit Rosenberg. I haven't seen if they got away yet. No. Lon charging forward to take the third city. It doesn't really matter unless the morale goes down, and maybe force his way across the Traun. I've moved the supply to Passau, and this moves as well. So, you know, we're closer to our supply source. We'll be gaining even more points. You still can't spend them. Yeah, it's just so hard. 4 or 5 point initiative. I'm like, of course I can roll in. Of course, Mouton just sits back there. I am too good for this. Americans decide to fight in both places. Good idea, not? Well, they couldn't get away in either case because it's actually raining right now. Even though we're kind of late in the year, there's still some chance. This is also a very valuable location. So I took a loss on Hiller to get there, potential loss on Charles. Either one could have come out safely. We're going to have 2 more battles. I think I like to fight a lot more than the system's designed for. But so far it feels like it's holding up. I mean, all that fighting is maybe keeping the French from advancing as much. Or maybe it's just me with the French not being willing to spend. Because I could force march, but that's more attrition. You go above the 4 to 5, I think you can go up to 7 or whatever. And, you know, I mean, I don't care how small a force you are and how good a supply. You're going to start taking losses doing that, and I hate taking losses. It's a seriously long battle, and that tends to happen when there's terrain involved. The affecting terrain column on a close battle, both sides decide, you know what, I don't want to attack next round, so I'll take a pursuit chit, and then when they are attacking, they say, I'll take the pitched battle and force the other guy to attack. So this went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds. With actually the Austrians getting defeated on one of the French attacks eventually. The total, geez, I don't know, it was 2, 5, 9, 10, 13 strength points, and I think that'll make 15 for the Austrians. 5, 7, 9, no, 13. 5, 10, 13, 5, 6, 7, 11, no, 15. So I was right. So there's the first time, not the second time. So there's actually a 1 in 6 chance of this being a critical battle. And it is not. But it was a bloody battle. With the pursuit not being worth taking under the standard rules, but again, I modify things a little bit to allow that. Now let's go on to Napoleon taking on Charles. Napoleon should have known better to get close enough that Charles could intervene. Charles has a big force, especially when it's all consolidated. It was 27 to 48 to begin with. Napoleon's the only one who got artillery fire going in. Napoleon took a total of 8 hits. That was a 4 retreat that didn't get badly hit. Now, the big thing is that they took a couple of guards. They've lost guard before. They're kind of running. That's kind of a problem. 2, 3, 4, 8 to 4. There's a 50-50 chance this is a critical battle. And that will not help Napoleon one bit. But it's not. Pity. And the chance of critical battle is one of the reasons that Charles actually pursued as far as he could. Okay, so that was the French side of the turn. Now the question is, does Charles want to just keep going? You know, he's got Napoleon on the run. Chances are Napoleon can get out of there, but it's not like there's a lot of force over on this side. And if I can prevent the French from advancing in both directions, well, that's kind of nice. Uh-oh. I do have to worry about Lannes, though. Sheesh. But chase Napoleon? I don't know yet. Okay, so now we're moving into the 31st of May. Special note, Bavarian revolt is quelled. That means I can start using Bavarian troops outside of Bavaria. Or outside of southern Bavaria. That's not really a big deal. I think all I have left is 2 cav that's garrisoning Passau. Otherwise, oops. Okay, I did one thing but not everything else, so I gotta finish up the French turn. The French part of reactions. But Charles did advance, Napoleon slipped away. I've got other reactions to do. Liechtenstein blew his bridge, which might seem kind of dangerous, but I can pull back to Linz. The question is what my goal is with the French. So does Davout want to try to make a run for Linz? He could maybe get there. So the answer is yes. Lannes, not Davout. They look the same, right? Ran up towards Linz. That's putting the Austrians in a dangerous position. Something I wasn't really considering when I went charging forward, or at least not enough. Davout inched forward. But the biggies, Vandamme and Mouton getting closer to the Passau. Now, I guess, I hope I'm still in supply. I'm sure I am. Yeah, it's only 14 movement points. I got another 4, which means 1, 2, 3, 4. I can actually make it to Linz. And then if I'm not moving much, as long as one of these roadways clears, I'm in pretty good shape. So the only problem is I can't guarantee that Lannes can move. But that's not that big. What? So that's a pretty exciting charge forward on both sides. You know, when I am audacious, I'm stupidly so. Okay, well, Charles's move was the most boneheaded thing I think I've done in this game. With Lannes slinging his way up to Linz, Charles is now out of supply. He can't really afford to react because of that. Davout did not make it to hit Hiller. But otherwise, we're positioning more and more forces in. Charles is going to have to try to get out of here. Liechtenstein here may try to... He tried to move to block Lannes' position, maybe, leaving some forces behind to repair that bridge so Charles can maybe get out of there. But this is pretty bad. On the bright side, if there is one, Louis managed to move up towards Enns. We're gonna lose the Tron River because I went to chase Napoleon, basically. I don't know if that's the only reason. We would have been back around here. It's not good at all. Not good at all. So now on the Austrian side of things, they did clear the bridge. Charles, with a lot of pain, he had Rosenberg, who had forces as well with him. And they split up and both got to move. That's fortunate because casualties could be higher. We've got the center of operations shows back up here, not exactly where we want it. And Napoleon's chasing after Charles. He's got Bessier, Vendôme, Mouton's forces. He's got a lot of forces with him. We already know Davout is, you know, on par with Hiller. And at the same time, I left Lannes back here just because, hey, he's sitting where I want things. And then I can shift in that direction. I could actually move my headquarters down there if I so desired. That, I think I'd prefer to do after I kind of make the breakthrough, because maybe I need to spend commands. I have tons of them, right? All right, and that pushes us, so these Austrian troops actually come in on this turn, but that pushes us into 2nd and 3rd of June. I think that's enough for this camera, or for this this segment. Load it up. But, you know, just very briefly, the game has definitely grown on me. I think what happened was I haven't played this since my sort of epiphany about this series that came with Napoleon at Bay. And I did play one of the more modern ones since then and felt, as well as the 6 Days of Glory or 7 Days of Glory, one of those two, I don't know. Something Days of Glory. It's not here. But both of those really disappointed me and left me with that same kind of miserable feeling. Whereas this, other than some agony over some of the rules that could have been a little tighter, and honestly, the optional rules, looking them over, feel more painful. As well as my sort of impression that I like these games to be simple. I don't like all games to be simple, but for some reason, I have trouble with these operational maneuvering games, and I kind of don't want them to go into too much, and especially this series with all the mechanical hassle that's already present. Trying to keep track of, you know, extended formation and stuff. I'm not up to that level yet. Maybe at some point I'll want that. But so far, you know, this is a fun kick. The command system, making me roll dice to move pieces, that always makes me happy. Yeah, of course, I don't have to. I could spend action points, but, you know, that's just immoral. Just wait till I get to 2038. You'll see how bad my problem is.